Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Aloha, Kayla. How's Hawaii?
Right?
And no, we won't be in the same time zone. 6 hours difference, though. So not as bad.
Not as bad. Close, though. Hello, Kyle.
Kyle, Gotham, what's up, guys? I listened to Dale's Phoenix Lament this morning, less sad and more discussion points than I recalled. Not one to avoid as I have done too often. Okay, yeah, we could definitely go and read that one again. Oop.
Yep. Thank you for the suggestion. Hello, Katie.
The Phoenix Lament, that's when Dumbledore dies.
It's
right?
like after
That's-
Dumbledore dies.
Well, I meant his funeral, isn't it?
No, the White Tomb is his funeral.
Okay.
Phoenix Lament is, Let me get the sacred text. Phoenix Lament is like the chapter immediately after.
The White Tomb.
No, it's the chapter before the White Tomb. It's like the chapter immediately after Harry chases Snape down.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's when they're all in the hospital wing together.
Bill being bitten. Oh, okay.
God, I need to do my nails or do something with them. They look terrible.
Sadder chapter. Yeah, I feel like some of those sadder chapters though are filled with a lot of information. I know.
There's a
He
jealousy
wants
thing.
to get up on my lap, but I already have
A lap man.
Yeah.
You can sit on my lap for a minute. For a minute. Oh, I'm sure. There's other big points, I'm sure.
We are gonna have to do the one big chapter we were talking about last night. I forget. You and Melanie
House of
were
Gaunt.
talking about it. Yeah. And you need to do like all this research on it.
I do. I need to do
There's
some
so
research.
much.
There's a lot there. I don't want to do that one until I'm like ready to do it. I don't know. The Forest Again is a chapter that I could read in isolation and still cry.
Maybe we'll put it to the test.
Okay.
We'll put it to the test because that's definitely one we want to read.
Yeah, we definitely want to read The Forest Again. But today we are going all the way back to Azkaban and reading something a little more light and fun.
I was gonna say we've really stuck with like the last 3 books.
Yeah, that's when a lot of our requests have been from the last 3 books.
Goblet, and Order.
You mean Deathly, Prince, and Order. Those are the last 3 books.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
But last night we did do Goblet.
Yep. Like, I remember things that happened, but I couldn't tell you what book. Well, most from what book, I mean.
Fair enough.
We know that Snape really loses out in this book.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that any day of the week.
It's a tough look for Snape overall.
Thought there was more crying over Dumbledore, but there really isn't. We get McGonagall as head mistress, and Harry keeping Dumbledore's secrets.
Yeah, he does. I agree, Katie. I think everyone is in just so much shock and disbelief over it. Like, Lupin has a moment where he's just like, what? And he, like, collapses into a chair. He doesn't cry, but he's just so... What?
And not to mention, like, at this point, we kind of see Harry as more of an adult with what he's having to deal with, but he's still a child. So I can only assume that, like, McGonagall, Lupin, all the adults are trying to be strong, and they're not showing their emotions in front of the children.
Well, I think
like McGonagall and Lupin and everyone definitely, go back to their office and have a nice cry.
Well, I think everyone is just... Oh my god, what? What? Oh my god. And then Snape did it. What? Everyone's just so stunned and shocked.
It's true. It's a lot to process.
Because not only did they find out Dumbledore died, yeah, Katie, they also find out that Snape's the one that killed him. It's a lot of information to take in and accept. And you can't cry until you've accepted it.
And I wonder,
oh my God,
I wonder if it's like that they just can't believe that Snape killed him, or they can't believe that Dumbledore had been wrong about Snape. What's more unbelievable?
Maybe
that
both.
Dumbledore was wrong, or that Snape would betray them? I think they were just more shocked that Dumbledore got it wrong.
I think they're just, the betrayal is just so
out of nowhere.
Yeah. Nice, Ryan. Gutham, welcome. Glad to see you finally made a stream. They say it's 12:30 a.m. in India.
1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for staying up to catch our stream.
Right? That's some dedication right there.
Dumbledore was wrong. Right, Anna? Like, I mean, when you bring everything down, like, you know, Dumbledore even says it himself. He's not wrong very often.
Right, but he wasn't wrong about Snape. They all just think he was.
Mm-hmm. And they all trusted Snape because they trusted Dumbledore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they're all just like, what?
Be on the side of the Order, assuming he was going after the DE. A Snape stunned Flitwick.
The Death Eaters, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so shocking for everyone.
Something like that.
I think you're right. I think McGonagall is the one who's just like, are you sure? Are you sure it was Snape? Like, Lupin's probably sitting there like, yep, shouldn't have trusted that guy.
I knew it. Called it from the start.
Yep, Lupin probably like.
Sirius was right the whole time. Should have just let him walk down the tunnel.
If Sirius had lived, that would have been his moment. Oh my God. If Sirius had lived, he'd be like, I told you so! I told you! None of you believed me.
He'd be the only one happy at Dumbledore's funeral.
I knew it.
Stand up. I told you all! But I was the one who was crazy for sending him down there.
Right, right.
I can't believe Snape was sorry about James's dying. Oh, did Lupin say that? I mean, I'm fully convinced that Snape did not care about James dying whatsoever.
I mean,
it was 100% Lily.
Well, it's even in the memories. When he's just like, save Lily. And he's, do whatever you have to do to protect her.
Don't care about the child.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, Harry tells him, but like Harry doesn't even know the full truth at this point. So even what Harry tells him isn't true about why Dumbledore trusted Snape. So
that's true.
Harry doesn't find out till the very, 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 very end.
Or Harry.
Secrets and lies. Secrets and lies. Albus Dumbledore.
Bugs are weird. Oh, the electrical outlets? Yeah. They are definitely a big shift.
What?
I know, it took me a second, like
what plugs? Like, out? I'm like, oh, outlets. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, I remember having to buy outlet adapters to go to Italy.
Hmm. I remember going to Europe and
having to buy the different thing.
Yeah. But I did find out, actually, that whole style of plug is much safer than ours.
Oh, shocker.
It's a lot harder to accidentally, like, stick something in there and shock yourself.
Shocker.
No, it's actually, you don't get shocked.
Something in the US is more dangerous. Wow. US plugs look like a shocked face. They
Yeah.
do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
It's something that can't be unseen.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, they do.
Circumstances for your father saving me, or did he find those details too shocking for your precious ears?
Hey, spoilers for this chapter, Dan. Just kidding. What's itchy? I'm sorry.
Well, not as many sticky notes this time.
No, not as many sticky notes. I didn't find as much to discuss.
Oh, maybe we can find some as we go through.
And our coffee sucks. What? Oh, what was that? No, come back.
I mean, that you might be right on. I don't know.
Depends
I've
on the
never had
coffee.
Australian coffee.
Well, I've never had Australian coffee either. But I also feel like it depends on what kind of coffee you're drinking.
Yeah, Kona coffee is really good. I do
I like Kona coffee. But it depends on the coffee you're drinking. Like if you're hitting Starbucks, don't do that. Don't do that. That is terrible. It tastes like water.
Yeah,
Again,
I'm guilty of that apparently because you say my coffee tastes like water when I make it.
yeah, it
But
does.
also, like, I could eat yours with a spoon. It's like soup when you make yours.
No,
Oh
it's
God. Yes.
I want to know what kind of coffee she's drinking now. Like, I feel like we have good coffee. It just depends on what it is. So, Ryan, we
Like,
have
I wouldn't be shocked, but it's Hawaii, and I know, like, Kona coffee's pretty good.
Kona coffee is good. That's why I'm like, Anna, Italian coffee is really fucking good. It's good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Italian coffee is really, really, really good. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I could still taste the coffee that I had there.
Shop under our apartment.
Yeah. So Chamber of Secrets is on the second channel. It's just not showing up, and we're trying to figure out why. So, Ryan, it's there. There's just some kind of thing going on that it's not showing up, and we're not sure why.
And the thing that gets me is it has views, so it shows up for some people. Like, people are watching it.
Right.
It's just we'll figure it out. This got brought up last time, and I thought it was resolved, but apparently it's not. So we'll hop back on there and try to figure it out.
Oh, see, it says unlisted. We'll figure it out though. Because yeah, you're not the only person who said this. They're there. They're just not there for whatever reason.
Anyone can search or view. It should follow the. Yeah, I'll just put it as public. We'll see how that works.
We'll see if that helps. Cuban coffee is really, really good too.
All right. So I changed one of the settings. Feel free to check and see if it works for you now. And just let us know. Because, yeah, I mean, there's views on all the videos. So it should work.
I would not say no to more coffee. Dan said he needs to make coffee. I would not say no to more. Now that we're talking about it. Ryan wants to know when we're going to do the character discussion for Lord Voldemort. They've been waiting for it.
Whenever you want to do it. I mean...
Chamber is up now, says Kyle.
It is? Okay. So one of the settings must have, like, changed or something.
They're all there, though.
But I'm glad that's fixed. You guys can watch it now, so we're good.
I guess we could do the Voldemort discussion whenever. We just started doing these chapter rereads, and people seem to be liking them. So we've just kind of kept doing them because people have been suggesting them. But we can do a Lord Voldemort discussion anytime. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the next couple of weeks we won't be doing live streams. So we'll take that time and kind of sit down and do the research for Lord Voldemort and the House of Gaunt.
Yeah.
And those will be our next 2 live streams.
They kind of connect to each other anyway, so.
That is true.
You are welcome. We have fixed it. Yay.
All right, nice. Ooh, that headache's gone.
You guys really need to do it. Enjoyed the 3-hour Snape video. All right.
Oh man, can we live up to the great Snape debate though?
Well, nothing is like the great Snape debate, but Voldemort.
You can't debate Voldemort. Like, who in their right mind would be like, well, Voldemort wasn't that bad of a guy?
I feel like someone out there could potentially.
I guess the only, like, maybe possible defense is the nature versus nurture, you know? It was because of his upbringing. He didn't have a chance.
He never had a shot, kind of a thing. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that, but.
Born of a loveless marriage, though.
May or may not fall asleep. Okay. It's only the second worst
person in the story. Oh no, who's the worst?
Right, Kyle, who do you think is the first worst person in the story?
I'm just going to throw it out here. I'm going to say Umbridge is my guess, because I agree with you 100%.
Lord Voldemort is my favorite character. I felt bad when he died. Yeah.
Umbridge, yes.
Umbridge.
I knew it.
Ryan, Lord Voldemort is one of my favorite characters. He's not my favorite character, but he's up there. Probably in my top 10. I love Lord Voldemort. He's such a great character.
Does Pottermore have anything on Umbridge, like her background? Like,
oh yeah,
Voldemort he was born out of a loveless marriage, grew up in an orphanage, yada yada.
Right.
What's Umbridge's excuse?
Umbridge was born to a wizard and a muggle mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad worked at the ministry, but he was like magical maintenance or something. He was like he was not like very high.
Yeah.
And like he was fine with it. Like he was happy. And she had a little brother too. And Umbridge always felt like ashamed of her dad and her family. And then at some point, I don't remember what, but at some point, mom and dad get divorced, and the muggle mom takes her brother with her because he was like a squib or a muggle. I can't remember. I think he was a squib or something.
Oh, he'd have to be a squib.
Right. And they just like leave, and then Dolores pretty much just
resents her for it.
Resents everything and goes to work in the ministry to like climb the ladder and like bury her family origins, and no one likes her.
Shocked.
At one point, like there's this whole thing about how
American outlet face.
She never gets married, but she wanted to get married as long as the wizard was tall, good-looking, and wealthy. Like something like that.
Oh man, we gotta do an Umbridge character breakdown. This is great.
I'm paraphrasing all of the information very heavily because there's more there than that.
I think Bellatrix and Fenrir. Bellatrix is basically very similar to Voldemort. Fenrir is definitely as bad, maybe worse, but it's like 2 totally different evils.
Fenrir is definitely a different evil than Voldemort. Far more creepy and disgusting.
Yeah,
me.
I think you could argue either one is more evil than the other.
Was the handsome wizard Fudge?
Fenrir is definitely the more creepy, though.
Fenrir is hands down the creepiest creepiest villain in the whole series. Voldemort is not searching for someone to love him. Voldemort doesn't want love at all. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't need it. He wants to transcend his humanity. That's Voldemort's thing. He doesn't want love.
He loves life. He loves it so much that he will destroy his soul to keep it.
That's true.
So there you go.
What's the handsome wizard?
Definitely not vain.
I love
He doesn't
that.
care about appearances. I mean,
maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Umbridge. Maybe Fudge getting married to Mrs. Fudge destroyed her.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Voldemort just does away with
Voldemort has a total, complete disregard for the sanctity of life. People are objects to be used and thrown away. Why are we doing this Voldemort discussion right now?
But this is a lot of good stuff to think about when we do it.
It's true.
I mean, this is good information to.
This is true. Bellatrix tortures and enjoys playing with her food, I guess. That's what Dumbledore says.
Yeah.
Fenrir mauls and contaminates, and Fenrir also loves children.
Actually, Fenrir might be worse. I mean, in a sense, he still kills like Voldemort, except he destroys their lives,
for forever.
You're not dead, but now you have to live with this affliction where society shuns you, and
then
he can't do anything.
He grooms them to be a part of his pack.
Yeah,
he's a pedophile. Well, I've said that before, that he's like a metaphor for pedophilia, and it's gross.
Yeah, I might shift on this debate. Fenrir might be worse. We're kind of breaking it down.
Fenrir Greyback is Umbridge. Yeah, Katie's right. Umbridge is so hated because we all probably know an Umbridge. She's very real.
That's true.
Like, odds are you've probably worked with an Umbridge before.
Yeah.
That's what's so awful about her. Her evil is real. And her type of evil is what allows for Voldemort's type of evil to spread and take over. That's what's awful about Umbridge. And the abuse of power is realistic too. Yeah, her abuse of power is very relatable and real. Like, you could see that anywhere.
Substitute teacher immediately popped into your head. I can't think of anyone specifically. Actually, no. Someone just popped in my head. But someone it reminded me of was one of your higher ups at a previous job.
Oh,
you mentioned.
Oh, yep.
I could drop any names or company names here.
Nope, but I could probably think of at least one, maybe two. For sure.
Voldemort would have won if he just told someone to kill Harry. Voldemort would have won had he just stopped talking for 5 minutes. Short and succinct, Voldemort. Or, kill Harry and then give your grand speech.
Listen, in his defense, in book 4, he had a lot building up for 13 years. He had a lot that he needed to get off his chest that time.
But, Gotham makes a good point. He wanted a fair fight with Harry so that, he could show off his skills. Which is fine.
Well, and Voldemort does have a flair for the dramatic. He wants it to be spectacle.
Yeah.
Like a lot like Dumbledore in that way. Voldemort has style.
And
it's just different.
That's one of the points where I can look past it with Voldemort, because no matter what, it wouldn't have worked out because of the
love magic.
Yeah, the love magic. But after that, just do away with them and move on.
But would Voldemort understand that if he tried to kill him again, it would work?
Well, no, but he tried with the other wand, and
That's true. He did choose beautiful artifacts for his soul. He did. He chose very nice things. But again, that's a whole other part of his personality that I would really like to discuss. The objects that he chose and why he chose them is a whole topic of conversation I'd like to get into as well.
Oh, Dan, you got a mug? How are you liking it?
Nice.
I need to get one of the new ones, the blue mugs.
Yeah. Everyone, buy a BIBLIOBIBULI mug. Support us, please and thank you. There.
Shows beautiful artifacts for his soul. That's true, he did.
That's what I mean. I feel like I could talk about those all day. That's a whole part of the Voldemort conversation. The objects, why he picked them. Ah, Nagini.
Nagini was an innocent snake. It depends on who you ask, because apparently Nagini used to be a circus performer.
Not canon. No. I refuse to acknowledge that. No.
Nagini, the Robin to Voldemort's Batman.
No. She was never a person. She was always a snake. No. I hate it. I hate it. No. No Nagini person top conversations in here. No.
There's another video we'll have to do, the Nagini.
I hate it.
Why she can't be a person.
It's not right. I don't like... I mean, I guess we should just sit... I should shut up and watch the movie. But... at least Dan and I agree about one thing about Fantastic Beasts. That's terrible. I hate it. Nagini should just be a snake. That's it. Always just a snake. I feel like it makes her and Voldemort's relationship more pure and better.
Yeah.
I like she was never more than the harmonica theory to Nagini. She was never anything more than a snake. Yes, that's good. I like that. The harmonica theory. That's what we're going with. Nagini was always just a snake.
I haven't watched all the Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, Ben. I know what you mean.
I don't really have an opinion on it, I guess. Not yet.
Fair enough.
Maybe I will develop one. When we do the video, I'll do the research and...
We have to watch the movie.
Yeah.
We do have to watch the movie. At some point. Because now there's 2 more movies that I have to watch.
It raises a lot more questions as how she would have gotten involved with Voldy. If she was a snake, or
if she was a person who became a snake.
Yeah.
Right. I don't like it. Why couldn't Nagini have just been a snake and her and Voldemort just bonded together? Why couldn't it just be that? Why does it have to be something that I hate? It's alright, Katie. We're not reading yet. We're just talking about the Nagini being a person thing again and how much I hate it. I don't know how many times on this channel I've mentioned how much I hate it. But it's been a lot every time we talk about it. To me, it's not canon. I refuse to acknowledge it. I don't like it.
I guess when we do that video, we can talk more about it. But
we can
stay on track.
I know we've been talking about Voldemort for a hot minute. Let's read a chapter out of the book where Voldemort does not make an appearance.
It needed to be something else, so they could have more stuff to make Harry Potter fans enjoy those movies. I mean, yeah. You could have also, like...
How about you just don't put Nagini in the movie?
Or what if, like, Voldemort... Something similar to, like, what Harry had happened, where...
That's exactly what Dan said. Nagini should have been, like, a little different than the boa. Not the same, but something.
Yeah. Could even have it like, they were related some way, born from the same clutch.
Yeah, but that boas aren't venomous. Nagini is like venomous.
Magical transformations. Happy accidents. I don't know.
Yeah, JK could definitely write 7 books just on Voldemort. They could have made a good plot to make us enjoy the movie, because that was my problem. Yeah, you didn't need Nagini to get Potter fans to watch the movie. You could have just made a good movie. Not that I've seen it, but I didn't like the first one, and most people are like, the first one is the best one, and I didn't like that one. So I don't have high expectations for the Crimes of Grindelwald.
They should have just done a TV show where it's like Crocodile Hunter style, but with Newt Scamander going around.
Like Monster of the Week kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This felt like they were reaching for ways to connect beasts to the original story. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they probably did. Let's bring it back to Potter so that people can be like, oh yeah, nostalgia
series. Yeah, we can talk more about that when they reboot the Harry Potter series, because apparently their Warner Brothers wants to do it.
They're talking about doing it.
I don't know if it's been greenlit yet,
but
it's like a big discussion right now. They want to do it.
I just I know we have to watch the Fantastic Beasts movies at some point. We'll have to do a Discord watch party or something. Wasn't that what we did with the first one?
Yep. Fantastic Beasts documentary thing. That's pretty cool.
Oh.
I don't know why. Actually, I do. Money. It's all about money.
Yeah, it's definitely all about money. It's all about money. I ranted about them remaking it last time too.
Yeah.
Shall we get started?
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've discussed Voldemort at length for a good 20 minutes.
Oh, that note, we already have some parallels happening.
I actually didn't find that many parallels this time. I just found this like one specific one.
Oh, real quick.
So as far as who is illustrating the remaining 2 books, the last thing that I heard was that Neil Packer, the guy who helped Jim Kay illustrate Order of the Phoenix, I guess he is going to be involved in illustrating the last 2 books. Whether or not he is the sole illustrator, or if they're going to have a team, or what they're doing, I don't know yet, but I know that he's going to be involved with the last 2 books. That's all I got for you right now.
No offense to him, but I hope he's not the sole illustrator, because like his style, it doesn't really work with Harry Potter.
It works for certain things in Potter, but yeah.
Like his illustration of
like the Ministry of Magic
was fantastic. I loved it.
It was really cool.
But I couldn't see an entire book with his style.
Right. Like character illustrations and scene illustrations and stuff.
So, short answer, no, we don't know.
Yeah, Jim Kay is awesome. But I mean, if the man needs to take time for his health, the man needs to take time for his health.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Chapter 14. Snape's Grudge. No one in Gryffindor Tower slept that night. They knew that the castle was being searched again, and the whole house stayed awake in the common room, waiting to hear whether Black had been caught. Professor McGonagall came back at dawn to tell them he had again escaped. Everywhere they went the next day, they saw signs of tighter security. Professor Flitwick could be seen teaching the front doors to recognize a large picture of Sirius Black. Filch was suddenly bustling up and down the corridors, boarding up everything from tiny cracks in the walls to mouse holes. Sir Cadogan had been sacked. His portrait had been taken back to its lonely landing on the 7th floor, and the fat lady was back. She had been expertly restored, but was still extremely nervous, and had only agreed to return to her job on condition that she was given extra protection. A bunch of surly security trolls had been hired to guard her. They paced the corridor in a menacing group, talking in grunts and comparing the size of their clubs. So I just thought there's a little parallel for you, calling back to book 1 with trolls. Yay!
I was gonna say, they never show us the trolls in the movies, do they?
Not in the third one. They don't have them. Well, we saw the troll in the first movie.
Well, yeah, but he was huge.
He's a mountain troll. Yeah, that's the only time we see a troll.
The same size trolls, or I'm just curious.
I don't know. Also, did Sir Cadogan really deserve to get fired?
What is he gonna do? He can't jump out of his painting.
Sirius had the passwords. Like,
yeah.
I mean, did he really deserve to get fired from his job?
No.
He was just doing his job. Harry couldn't help noticing that the statue of the one-eyed witch on the 3rd floor remained unguarded and unblocked. It seemed that Fred and George had been right in thinking that they, and now Harry, Ron and Hermione, were the only ones who knew about the hidden passageway within it. "Do you reckon we should tell someone?" Harry asked Ron. "We know he's not coming in through Honeydukes," said Ron dismissively. "We'd have heard if the shop had been broken into." Harry was glad Ron took this view. If the one-eyed witch was boarded up too, he would never be able to go into Hogsmeade again. Ron had become an instant celebrity. For the first time in his life, people were paying more attention to him than to Harry, and it was clear that Ron was rather enjoying the experience. Though still severely shaken by the night's events, he was happy to tell anyone who asked what had happened, with a wealth of detail. "I was asleep, and I heard this ripping noise, and I thought it was in my dream, you know. But then there was this draft. I woke up, and one side of the hangings on my bed had been pulled down. I rolled over, and I saw him standing over me, like a skeleton, with loads of filthy hair, holding this great long knife, must have been 12 inches, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and then I yelled and he scarpered." "Why, though?" Ron added to Harry as the group of second-year girls who had been listening to his chilling tale departed. "Why did he scarper?" Harry had been wondering the same thing. Why had Black, having got the wrong bed, not silenced Ron and proceeded to Harry? Black had proved 12 years ago that he didn't mind murdering innocent people, and this time he had been facing 5 unarmed boys, 4 of whom were asleep. He must have known he'd have a job getting back out of the castle. Once you'd yelled...
I can see what he's working at.
Okay. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Once you'd yelled and woken people up, said Harry thoughtfully. He'd have had to kill the whole house to get back through the portrait hole. Then he would have met the teachers. Neville was in total disgrace. Professor McGonagall was so furious with him she had banned him from all future Hogsmeade visits, given him a detention, and forbidden anyone to give him the password into the tower. Poor Neville was forced to wait outside the common room every night for someone to let him in, while the security trolls leered unpleasantly at him. None of these punishments, however, came close to matching the one his grandmother had in store for him. 2 days after Black's break-in, she sent Neville the very worst thing a Hogwarts student could receive over breakfast. A howler. Also, just throwing it out here, I believe in book 1, Neville is waiting outside the common room for someone to let him in during the Midnight Duel chapter, and that's how Neville ends up going with them, because he forgets the password and he can't get in.
I feel like that happens to Neville a lot, though. But yes, you're right.
I think this is literally the first time...
No, the Midnight Duel, was that when Hermione, petrifies him?
No.
Okay.
Hermione petrifies him later when they go down to stop Voldemort from getting a stone.
That's right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure in the Midnight Duel, he's just there, and he's like... they just find him because he's trying to get in.
Right? Neville, the sleeper wizard. No one expects Neville. And then, bam! Neville Longbottom.
And then in this book, he is stuck outside because he did remember the passwords. He just dropped them and Sirius took them. He had the passwords. So, Neville. There's a nice little parallel for you right there.
Neville,
Poor Neville. He's having a hard time.
He does his best.
He does his best. The school owl swooped into the great hall carrying the post as usual, and Neville choked as a huge barn owl landed in front of him, a scarlet envelope clutched in its beak. Harry and Ron, who were sitting opposite him, recognized the letter as a howler at once. Ron had got one from his mother the year before. "Run for it, Neville," Ron advised. Neville didn't need telling twice. He seized the envelope and, holding it before him like a bomb, sprinted out of the hall, while the Slytherin table exploded with laughter at the sight of him. They heard the howler go off in the entrance hall, Neville's grandmother's voice, magically magnified to 100 times its usual volume, shrieking about how he had brought shame on the whole family. Harry was too busy feeling sorry for Neville to notice immediately that he had a letter too. Hedwig got his attention by nipping him sharply on the wrist. "Ow! Oh, thanks, Hedwig." Harry tore open the envelope while Hedwig helped herself to some of Neville's cornflakes. The note inside said, "Dear Harry and Ron, how about having tea with me this evening round 6? I'll come and collect you from the castle. Wait for me in the entrance hall. You're not allowed to go out on your own. Cheers, Hagrid." "He probably wants to hear all about Black," said Ron. So at 6 o'clock that evening, Harry and Ron left Gryffindor Tower, passed the security trolls at a run, and headed down to the entrance hall.
That's funny. Such a contrast between this and our next book, when Hagrid's just like, "I know you shouldn't be out, but come on down."
Oh, book 6. Yeah, and the last one. Yeah. "I know you shouldn't be out, but I can't take it. Please, please come.
Sneak out. Just take your invisibility cloak.
Right?
I know your ways." Dumbledore had the willow planted over the tunnel and set by the Shrieking Shack. Cares about the secret pet. I think he means the passage into Honeydukes. And yeah, Harry does seem to care more about the passage than Ron almost dying.
He's 13.
Ron, but did you die? No. But now we could lose our access to candy.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. Hagrid was already waiting for them. "All right, Hagrid," said Ron. "Suppose you want to hear about Saturday night, do you?" "I've already heard about it," said Hagrid, opening the front doors and leading them outside. "Oh," said Ron, looking slightly put out. Put out. Put outer in book 1. Put out. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a big leap.
I know.
That's one.
I know, but it's still fun, Jackson. It's still fun.
Oh, and I just realized Katie was answering someone else. So, yes, you are right. Never mind.
The first thing they saw on entering Hagrid's cabin was Buckbeak, who was stretched out on top of Hagrid's patchwork quilt, his enormous wings folded tight to his body, enjoying a large plate of dead ferrets. Averting his eyes from this unpleasant sight, Harry saw a gigantic Harry Brown suit and a very horrible yellow and orange tie hanging from the top of Hagrid's wardrobe door. "What are they for, Hagrid?" said Harry. "Buckbeak's case against the Committee for the Disposal of Dangerous Creatures," said Hagrid. "This Friday, him and me'll be going down to London together. I've booked 2 beds on the night bus." Harry felt a nasty pang of guilt. He'd completely forgotten that Buckbeak's trial was so near, and judging by the uneasy look on Ron's face, he had too. They had also forgotten their promise about helping him prepare Buckbeak's defense. The arrival of the firebolt had driven it clean out of their minds. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
There it is, see? Now Harry only cares about the firebolt instead of poor little Buckbeak.
Mm-hmm. Just about sports. Just about sports with these two.
Sports and candy.
Jeez, guys. Hagrid poured them tea and offered them a plate of math buns, but they knew better than to accept. They had had too much experience of Hagrid's cooking. "I've got something to discuss with you two," said Hagrid, sitting himself between them and looking uncharacteristically serious. "What?" said Harry. "Hermione," said Hagrid. "What about her?" said Ron. "She's in a right state, that's what. She's been coming down to visit me a lot since Christmas. Been feeling lonely. First you weren't talking to her because of the firebolt. Now you're not talking to her because her cat..." "Eight Scabbers!" Ron interjected angrily. "Because her cat acted like all cats do," Hagrid continued doggedly. "She's cried a fair few times, you know. Going through a rough time at the moment. Bitten off more than she can chew, if you ask me. All the work she's trying to do. Still found time to help me with Buckbeak's case, mind. She's found some really good stuff for me. Reckon he'll stand a chance now." "Hagrid, we should have helped as well. Sorry," Harry began awkwardly. "I'm not blaming you," said Hagrid, waving Harry's apology aside. "God knows you've had enough to be getting on with. I've seen you practicing Quidditch every hour of the day and night. But I gotta tell you, I thought you two would value your friend more than broomsticks or rats. That's all." Harry and Ron exchanged uncomfortable looks. "Really upset she was when Black nearly stabbed you, Ron. She's got her heart in the right place, Hermione has, and you two not talking to her." "If she'd just get rid of that cat, I'd speak to her again," Ron said angrily. "But she's still sticking up for it. It's a maniac and she won't hear a word against it." "Ah, well, people can be a bit stupid about their pets," said Hagrid wisely.
Hagrid wouldn't know anything about that.
If anyone should know about that,
Hagrid
it's
does
Hagrid.
all the stupid stuff for his pets. He also has a lot of stupid pets. Sorry. Thinks, oh, a dragon is a good pet. Come on. You're not a Targaryen, buddy. Chill out.
Right.
Only Scabbers had been eaten. I know, right?
Oh my god.
Crookshanks was just trying to save the world. Crookshanks would have been the new celebrity. Forget Harry Potter.
Crookshanks.
Crookshanks eating Wormtail would have been great.
To be fair, Scabbers needed to get away so that Voldemort could eventually be defeated. Technically true.
Yeah, I mean, just because Voldemort wouldn't have came back in the same way doesn't mean that he wouldn't have came back. Or maybe the Horcrux and Harry would have taken
him over or something, yeah.
Harry Mort.
Could have been.
Voldemort.
They spent the rest of their... Behind him, Buckbeak spat a few ferret bones onto Hagrid's pillow. They spent the rest of their visit discussing Gryffindor's improved chances for the Quidditch Cup. At 9 o'clock, Hagrid walked them back up to the castle. A large group of people was bunched round the notice board when they returned to the common room. "Hogsmeade next weekend," said Ron, craning over their heads to read the new notice. "What do you reckon?" he added quietly to Harry as they went to sit down. "Well, Filch hasn't done anything about the passage into Honeydukes," Harry said, even more quietly. "Harry?" said a voice right in his ear. Harry started and looked round at Hermione, who was sitting at the table right behind them and clearing a space in the wall of books that had been hiding her. "Harry, if you go into Hogsmeade again, I'll tell Professor McGonagall about that map," said Hermione. "Can you hear someone talking, Harry?" growled Ron, not looking at Hermione. "Ron, how can you let him go with you, after what Sirius Black nearly did to you? I mean it, I'll tell—" "So now you're trying to get Harry expelled?" said Ron furiously. "Haven't you done enough damage this year?" Ooh. Ouch.
That was harsh.
Ouch, Ron.
Crookshanks is definitely the cat for Hermione, though. In this book, who's right every time? Hermione and Crookshanks.
Kinda, yeah.
Ron and Harry stop them every time.
Yeah. Look at Jackson's getting upset about it. He's like, "That's right, cats."
Right, listen to the cat. The cat knows.
Hermione opened her mouth to respond, but with a soft hiss, Crookshanks leapt onto her lap. Hermione took one frightened look at the expression on Ron's face, gathered Crookshanks up, and hurried away towards the girls' dormitory. "So, how about it?" said Ron to Harry, as though there had been no interruption. "Come on! Last time we went, you didn't see anything. You haven't even been inside Zonko's yet." Harry looked round to check that Hermione was well out of earshot. "Okay," he said, "but I'm taking the invisibility cloak this time." On Saturday morning, Harry packed the invisibility cloak in his bag, slipped the Marauders map into his pocket, and went down to breakfast with everyone else. Hermione kept shooting suspicious looks down the table at him, but he avoided her eye, and was careful to let her see him walking back up the marble staircase in the entrance hall, as everyone else proceeded to the front doors. "Bye," Harry called to Ron. "See you when you get back." Ron grinned and winked. Harry hurried up to the third floor, slipping the Marauder's map out of his pocket as he went. Crouching behind the one-eyed witch, he smoothed it out. A tiny dot was moving in his direction. Neville squinted at it. The minuscule writing next to it read, "Neville Longbottom." Harry quickly pulled out his wand, muttered, "Descendium," and shoved his back into the statue, but before he could climb in himself, Neville came round the corner. "Harry! I forgot you weren't going to Hogsmeade either." "Hi, Neville," said Harry, moving swiftly away from the statue and pushing the map back into his pocket. "What are you up to?" "Nothing," shrugged Neville. "Want a game of exploding snap?" Not now. I was going to go to the library and do that vampire essay for Lupin." "I'll come with you," said Neville brightly. "I haven't done it either." Hang on. Yeah, I forgot. I finished it last night." "Brilliant, you can help me," said Neville, his round face anxious. "I don't understand that thing about the garlic at all. Do they have to eat it, or—" Neville broke off with a small gasp, looking over Harry's shoulder. It was Snape. Neville took a quick step behind Harry. "And what are you two doing here?" said Snape, coming to a halt and looking from one to the other. "An odd place to meet." To Harry's immense disquiet, Snape's black eyes flickered to the doorways on either side of them, and then to the one-eyed witch. "We're not meeting here," said Harry. "We just met here." "Indeed," said Snape. "You have a habit of turning up in unexpected places, Potter, and you are rarely there for no reason. I suggest the pair of you return to Gryffindor Tower where you belong." Harry and Neville set off without another word. As they turned the corner, Harry looked back. Snape was running one of his hands over the one-eyed witch's head, examining it closely. Do you think Snape knows about the secret passage? The one-eyed witch?
No. I don't think so.
I got a sneaking suspicion that he knows
I think
about
he's
it.
suspicious of it. I don't think he knows.
I think he knows.
I think he would have told Dumbledore.
I think he knows, but maybe he just doesn't know how to get in there. But I think he knows.
So, I mean, I think he's suspicious.
I bet he saw James and Sirius and Lupin, like, creeping around that
following them down the corridor, and then he turns the corner and they're just gone.
Yeah. Right? He knows there's something not right about it. I think he knows something. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
50 minutes before we get to Snape. I know. That's Snape's grudge. So far into the book.
Harry managed to shake Neville off at the fat lady by telling him the password, then pretending he'd left his vampire essay in the library and doubling back. Once out of sight of the security trolls, he pulled out the map again and held it close to his nose. The third-floor corridor seemed to be deserted. Harry scanned the map carefully and saw, with a leap of relief, that the tiny dot labelled Severus Snape was now back in its office. He sprinted back to the one-eyed witch, opened her hump, heaved himself inside. That's a weird sentence.
Wait, what?
Opened her hump and then heaved himself inside. That's just...
I was reading the chat when you said it, so I just went, oh, okay.
And slid down to meet his bag at the bottom of the stone chute. He wiped the Marauder's map blank clean again, then set off at a run.
Got that Black Eyed Peas song stuck in my head now.
My humps.
My humps. My lovely little lumps.
Ew.
Say it with a straight face. Oh man. Lovely tunnel humps. Yes. Sus. So sus.
It is. It's the classic Snape situation. He knows. But he can't prove it.
Right?
But he knows.
Just be a term in the US language or the English language. Snaped.
It's a Snape.
When you know something, but you can't prove it.
It's totally Snape.
Legal terminology.
Harry, completely hidden beneath the invisibility cloak, emerged into the sunlight outside Honeyduke's and prodded Ron in the back. "It's me," he muttered. "What kept you?" Ron hissed. "Snape was hanging around." They set off up the high street. "Where are you?" Ron kept muttering out of the corner of his mouth. "Are you still there? This feels weird." They went to the post office. Ron pretended to be checking the price of an owl to Bill in Egypt so that Harry could have a good look around. The owl sat hooting softly down at him, at least 300 of them, from great greys right down to tiny little Scops owls, local deliveries only, which were so small that they could have sat in the palm of Harry's hand. Then they visited Zonko's, which was so packed with students, Harry had to exercise great care not to tread on anyone and cause a panic. There were jokes and tricks full to fulfill even Fred and George's wildest dreams. Harry gave Ron whispered orders and passed him some gold from under the cloak. They left Zonko's with their money bags considerably lighter than they had been on entering, but their pockets bulging with dung bombs, hiccup sweets, frog spawn soap, and a nose-biting teacup apiece. It's so funny, they visit Zonko's. It could fulfill Fred and George's wildest dreams. And then in book 5, they actually visit Fred and George's joke shop.
Fred and George's wildest dreams fulfilled.
Right? 3 and 5 parallel. There you go.
But, see? We knew we'd find one.
There's another one.
So they abandoned poor Neville. Why did Neville even waste his time trying to save them in the end?
Should have joined Lord Voldemort when he had the chance.
Alright, that's a little extreme, but, you know.
Oh, the joke shop is book 6. Dang it, that's right. They're making the stuff in 5. They're like testing everything in 5. That's right.
Never mind. Shot down.
Alright.
Shot down by facts.
Yeah, that's true. It's in 6. That's right. They're testing everything. Yeah. They promote it in 5. That's right. The canary creams and all that crap. That's in 5.
Wheezes was under construction. That's true.
You know what? I think it's because there's that chapter called Weasley's Wizard Wheezes.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what gets me.
Well, the business was there. They just didn't have
the shop. I think, yeah. No, you're right. The day was fine and breezy, and neither of them felt like staying indoors, so they walked past the 3 broomsticks and climbed a slope to visit the Shrieking Shack, the most haunted dwelling in Britain. It stood a little way above the rest of the village, and even in daylight was slightly creepy, with its boarded windows and dank, overgrown garden. Even the Hogwarts ghosts avoid it, said Ron, as they leaned on the fence, looking up at it. I asked Nearly Headless Nick. He says he's heard a very rough crowd live here. No one could get in. Fred and George tried, obviously, but all the entrances are sealed shut. Are they, though? Harry, feeling hot from their climb, was just considering taking off the cloak for a few minutes when they heard voices nearby. Someone was climbing towards the house from the other side of the hill. Moments later, Malfoy had appeared, followed closely by Crabbe and Goyle. Malfoy was speaking. Should have an owl from Father any time now. He had to go to the hearing to tell them about my arm, about how I couldn't use it for 3 months. Crabbe and Goyle sniggered. I really wish I could hear that great hairy moron trying to defend himself. There's no harm in him, honest. That hippogriff's as good as dead. Malfoy suddenly caught sight of Ron. His pale face split into malevolent... into a malevolent grin.
So these points where even after his redemption arc happens later on, just like, ugh, you kind of deserved everything that happened to you, Malfoy. I'm not sorry.
What are you doing, Weasley? Malfoy looked up at the crumbling house behind Ron. Suppose you'd love to live here, wouldn't you, Weasley? Dreaming about your own bedroom? I heard your family all sleep in one room. Is that true? Harry seized the back of Ron's robes to stop him leaping on Malfoy. Leave him to me, he hissed in Ron's ear. The opportunity was too perfect to miss. Harry crept silently round behind Malfoy, Crabbe and Goyle, bent down, and scooped a large handful of mud out of the path. We were just discussing your friend Hagrid, Malfoy said to Ron. Just trying to imagine what he's saying to the Committee for the Disposal of Dangerous Creatures. Do you think he'll cry when they cut off his hippogriff's... Splat. Malfoy's head jerked forward as the mud hit him. His silver blonde hair was suddenly dripping in muck. What the... Ron had to hold on to the fence to keep himself standing. He was laughing so hard. Malfoy, Crabbe and Goyle spun stupidly on the spot, staring wildly round, Malfoy trying to wipe his hair clean. What was that? Who did it? Very haunted up here, isn't it? Said Ron, with the air of one commenting on the weather. Crabbe and Goyle were looking scared. Their bulging muscles were no use against ghosts. Malfoy was staring madly around at the deserted landscape. Harry sneaked along the path where a particularly sloppy puddle yielded some foul-smelling green sludge. Splatter! Crabbe and Goyle caught some this time. Goyle hopped furiously on the spot, trying to rub it out of his small, dull eyes. It came from over there, said Malfoy, wiping his face and staring at a spot some 6 feet to the left of Harry. Crabbe blundered forwards, his long arms outstretched like a zombie. Harry dodged around him, picked up a stick and lobbed it at Crabbe's back. Harry doubled up with silent laughter as Crabbe did a kind of pirouette in mid-air, trying to see who had thrown it. As Ron was the only person Crabbe could see, it was Ron he started towards, but Harry stuck out his leg. Crabbe stumbled, and his huge, flat foot caught the hem of Harry's cloak. Harry felt a tug, and the cloak slid off his face. For a split second, Malfoy stared at him. Ah! He yelled, pointing at Harry's head. Then he turned tail and ran at breakneck speed, back down the hill, Crabbe and Goyle behind him. Harry tugged the cloak up again, but the damage was done. Harry? Ron said, stumbling forward and staring hopelessly at the point where Harry had disappeared. You better run for it. If Malfoy tells anyone, you better get back to the castle, quick. See you later, said Harry, and without another word he tore back down the path toward Hogsmeade. Would Malfoy believe what he'd seen? Would anyone believe Malfoy? Nobody knew about the invisibility cloak. Nobody except Dumbledore. Harry's stomach turned over. Dumbledore would know exactly what happened if Malfoy said anything. Back into Honeyduke's, back down the cellar steps, across the stone floor, through the trapdoor. Harry pulled off the cloak, tucked it under his arm, and ran, flat out along the passage. Malfoy would get back first. How long would it take him to find a teacher? Panting, a sharp pain in his side, Harry didn't slow down until he reached the stone slide. He would have to leave the cloak where it was. It was too much of a giveaway if Malfoy had tipped off a teacher. He hid it in a shadowy corner, then started to climb, fast as he could, his sweaty hands slipping on the sides of the chute. He reached the inside of the witch's hump, tapped it with his wand, stuck his head through and hoisted himself out. The hump closed, and just as Harry jumped out from behind the statue, he heard quick footsteps approaching. It was Snape. Isn't that what they said in at the last bit? It was Snape before?
I think so. But yeah, Snape knew exactly where to go.
Oh, yeah. Snape.
So I think this is confirmation that he is suspicious about that statue.
Yeah, Snape
There's
knows.
Something weird going on there.
Yep. He approached Harry at a swift walk, his black robe swishing, then stopped in front of him. "So," he said. There was a look of suppressed triumph about him. Harry tried to look innocent, all too aware of his sweaty face and his muddy hands, which he quickly hid in his pockets. "Come with me, Potter," said Snape. Harry followed him downstairs, trying to wipe his hands clean on the inside of his robes without Snape noticing. They walked down the stairs to the dungeons and then into Snape's office. Harry had only been in here once before, and he had been in very serious trouble then, too. Snape had acquired a few more horrible, slimy things in jars since last time, all standing on shelves behind his desk, glinting in the firelight and adding to the threatening atmosphere. "Sit," said Snape. Harry sat. Snape, however, remained standing. "Mr. Malfoy has just been to see me with a very strange story, Potter," said Snape. Harry didn't say anything. "He tells me that he was up by the Shrieking Shack when he ran into Weasley. Apparently alone." Still, Harry didn't speak. "Mr. Malfoy states that he was standing talking to Weasley when a large amount of mud hit him on the back of the head. How do you think that could have happened?" Harry tried to look mildly surprised. "I don't know, Professor." Snape's eyes were boring into Harry's. It was exactly like trying to stare out a hippogriff. Harry tried hard not to blink. "I think someone's trying to use legitimacy on Harry Potter.
I think so.
I think he's trying to read his mind."
Or maybe he already has. He just wants Harry to admit it.
Yeah, maybe. "Mr. Malfoy then saw an extraordinary apparition. Can you imagine what it might have been, Potter?" "No," said Harry, now trying to sound innocently curious. "It was your head, Potter, floating in mid-air." There was a long silence. "Maybe he'd better go to Madame Pomfrey," said Harry. "If he's seeing things like—" "What would your head have been doing in Hogsmeade, Potter?" said Snape softly. "Your head is not allowed in Hogsmeade. No part of your body has permission to be in Hogsmeade." "I know that," said Harry, striving to keep his face free of guilt or fear. "It sounds like Malfoy's having "Malfoy is not having hallucinations," snarled Snape, and he bent down, a hand on each arm of Harry's chair, so that their faces were a foot apart. "If your head was in Hogsmeade, so was the rest of you." "I've been up in Gryffindor Tower," said Harry. "Like you told—" "Can anyone confirm that?" Harry didn't say anything. Snape's thin mouth curled into a horrible smile. "So," he said, straightening up again, "everyone, from the Minister for Magic down downwards, has been trying to keep famous Harry Potter safe from Sirius Black. But famous Harry Potter is a law unto himself. Let the ordinary people worry about his safety. Famous Harry Potter goes where he wants to, with no thought for the consequences. Harry stayed silent. Snape was trying to provoke him into telling the truth. He wasn't going to do it. Snape had no proof. Yet.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. This is one time when I am on Snape's side. Like, yeah, he's right, you know? Everyone is trying to protect him, and he's just going out and risking his life.
Snape is 100% right in this situation.
Yeah, I can't. This is one of those moments where I can't argue against Snape. He is correct.
He is.
Basically on all fronts.
How extraordinarily like your father you are, Potter, Snape said suddenly, his eyes glinting. He, too, was exceedingly arrogant. A small amount of talent on the Quidditch pitch made him think he was a cut above the rest of us, too, strutting around the place with his friends and admirers. The resemblance between you is uncanny. My dad didn't strut, said Harry before he could stop himself. And nor do I. Your father didn't set much store by rules either, Snape went on, pressing his advantage, his thin face full of malice. Rules were for lesser mortals, not Quidditch Cup winners. His head was so swollen. Shut up! Harry was suddenly on his feet. Rage, such as he'd never felt since his last night in Privet Drive, was thundering through him. He didn't care that Snape's face had gone rigid, the black eyes flashing dangerously. What did you say to me, Potter? I told you to shut up about my dad, Harry yelled. I know the truth, all right? He saved your life. Dumbledore told me. You wouldn't even be here if it weren't for my dad. Snape's sallow skin had gone the color of sour milk.
That's right. James was just a free spirit.
Yeah, he was a bully. Come on now. He was a bully.
He was. I think we forget because of all the young dudes, but James and Sirius were a bunch of jerks when they were kids.
James and Sirius definitely strutted around the school, for sure.
Oh, wait. Parallel. Harry shouting at Snape in his office in 3 and 5. Snape is shouting at
Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. About, like, his dad.
Yeah.
And the relationship between him and his dad.
Yep.
There it is. See, I knew Katie would find some parallels up in here. Moments. She's so sleepy.
I can't believe you missed that one. I mean, it's a Snape scene. Here, these are just ingrained in your mind.
Sometimes I take crazy notes, and then sometimes I don't.
I know. It's just the fact that it's dealing with Snape. But either way.
There it is. There's another one. And did the headmaster tell you the circumstances in which your father saved my life? He whispered. Or did he consider the details too unpleasant for precious Potter's delicate ears? Harry bit his lip. He didn't know what had happened, and he didn't want to admit it. But Snape seemed to have guessed the truth. I would hate you to run away with a false idea of your father, Potter, he said, a terrible grin twisting his face. Have you been imagining some act of glorious heroism? Then let me correct you. Your saintly father and his friends played a highly amusing joke on me that would have resulted in my death if your father hadn't got cold feet at the last moment. There was nothing brave about what he did. He was saving his own skin as much as mine. Had their joke succeeded, he would have been expelled from Hogwarts. Snape's uneven yellowish teeth were bared. "Turn out your pockets, Potter," he spat suddenly. Harry didn't move. There was a pounding in his ears. "Turn out your pockets, or we go straight to the headmaster. Pull them out, Potter." Cold with dread, Harry slowly pulled out the bag of Zonko's tricks and the Marauder's map. Snape picked up the Zonko's bag. "Ron gave them to me," said Harry, praying he'd get a chance to tip Ron off before Snape saw him. "He brought them back from Hogsmeade last time." "Indeed. And you've been carrying them around ever since? How very touching. And what is this?" Snape had picked up the map. Harry tried with all his might to keep his face impassive. "Spare bit of parchment," he shrugged. Snape turned it over, his eyes on Harry. "Surely you don't need such a very old piece of parchment," he said. "Why don't I just throw this away?" His hand moved towards the fire. "No," Harry said quickly. "So," said Snape, his long nostrils quivering, "is this another treasured gift from Mr. Weasley, or is it something else? A letter, perhaps, written in invisible ink, or instructions to get into Hogsmeade without passing the Dementors?" Harry blinked. Snape's eyes gleamed. Let me see, he muttered, taking out his wand and smoothing the map out on his desk. "Reveal your secret," he said, touching the wand to the parchment. Nothing happened. Harry clenched his hands to stop them shaking. "Show yourself," Snape said, touching the map sharply. It stayed blank. Harry was taking deep, calming breaths. "Professor Severus Snape, master of this school, commands you to yield the information you conceal," Snape said, hitting the map with his wand.
Master of this school.
As though an invisible hand was writing upon it, words appeared on the smooth surface of the map. "Mr. Mooney presents his compliments to Professor Snape and begs him to keep his abnormally large nose out of other people's business." Snape froze. Harry stared, dumbstruck at the message, but the map didn't stop there. More writing was appearing beneath the first. "Mr. Prongs agrees with Mr. Mooney and would like to add that Professor Snape is an ugly git." It would have been very funny if the situation hadn't been so serious. And there was more. "Mr. Padfoot would like to register his astonishment that an idiot like that ever became a professor." Harry closed his eyes in horror. When he'd opened them, the map had had its last word. "Mr. Wormtail bids Professor Snape good day and advises him to wash his hair, the slime ball." Harry waited for the blow to fall. "So," said Snape softly. Snape says so many times in this chapter. Oh my god. "We'll see about this." He strode across to his fire, seized a fistful of glittering powder from a jar on the fireplace, and threw it into the flames. "Lupin," Snape called into the fire, "I want a word." Utterly bewildered, Harry stared at the fire. A large shape had appeared in it, revolving very fast. Seconds later, Professor Lupin was clambering out of the fireplace, brushing ash off his shabby robes. "You called, Severus?" said Lupin mildly. "I certainly did," said Snape, his face contorted with fury as he strode back to his desk. "I have just asked Potter to empty his pockets. He was carrying this." Snape pointed at the parchment on which the words of Messrs. Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs were still shining. An odd, closed expression appeared on Lupin's face. "Well," said Snape. Lupin continued to stare at the map. Harry had the impression that Lupin was doing some very quick thinking. "Well," said Snape again. "This parchment is plainly full of dark magic. This is supposed to be your area of expertise, Lupin. Where do you imagine Potter got such a thing?" Lupin looked up and, by the merest half-glance in Harry's direction, warned him not to interrupt. "Full of dark magic," he repeated mildly. "Do you really think so, Severus? It looks to me as though it is merely a piece of parchment that insults anybody who tries to read it. Childish, but surely not dangerous. I imagine Harry got it from a joke shop." "Indeed," said Snape. His jaw had grown rigid with anger. "You think a joke shop could supply him with such a thing? You don't think it more likely that he got it directly from the manufacturers?" Harry didn't understand what Snape was talking about, nor apparently did Lupin. "You mean from Mr. Wormtail or one of these people?" he said. "Harry, do you know any of these men?" "No," said Harry quickly. "You see, Severus," said Lupin, turning back to Snape, "it looks like a Zonko product to me." Right on cue, Ron came bursting into the office. He was completely out of breath and stopped just short of Snape's desk, clutching the stitch in his chest and trying to speak. "I gave Harry that stuff," he choked. "Bought it at Zonko's weeks ago." "Well," said Lupin, clapping his hands together and looking round cheerfully, "that seems to clear it up. Severus, I'll take this back, shall I?" He folded the map and tucked it inside his robes. "Harry, Ron, I would like to have a word. I need a word about my vampire essay. Excuse us, Severus." Harry didn't dare look at Snape as they left his office. He, Ron, and Lupin walked all the way back to the entrance hall before speaking. Then Harry turned to Lupin. "Professor, I don't want to hear an explanation," said Lupin shortly. He glanced round the empty entrance hall and lowered his voice. "I happen to know that this map was confiscated by Mr. Filch many years ago. Yes, I know it's a map," he said as Harry and Ron looked amazed. "I don't want to know how it fell into your possession. I am, however, astounded that you did not hand it in, particularly after what happened the last time a student left information about the castle lying around. And I can't let you have it back, Harry." Harry had expected that and was too keen for explanations to protest. "Why did Snape think I got it from the manufacturers?" "Because..." Lupin hesitated. "Because these map makers would have wanted to lure you out of school. They'd think it extremely entertaining." "You know them?" said Harry, impressed. "We've met," he said shortly. He was looking at Harry more seriously than ever before. "Don't expect me to cover up for you again, Harry. I cannot make you take Sirius Black seriously."
There it is. Weren't you talking about that?
We were.
Taking Sirius seriously?
"But I would have thought that what you have heard when the Dementors drew near to you would have had more of an effect on you. Your parents gave their lives to keep you alive, Harry. A poor way to repay them. Gambling their sacrifice for a bag of magic tricks." He walked away, leaving Harry feeling worse by far than he had at any point in Snape's office. Slowly, he and Ron mounted the marble staircase. As Harry passed the one-eyed witch, he remembered the invisibility cloak. It was still down there, but he didn't dare go and get it. "It's my fault," Ron said abruptly. "I persuaded you to go. Lupin's right. It was stupid. We shouldn't have done it." He broke off. They had reached the corridor where the security trolls were pacing, and Hermione was walking towards them. One look at her face convinced Harry that she had heard what had happened. His heart plummeted. Had she told Professor McGonagall? "Come to have a good gloat," said Ron savagely as she stopped in front of them. "Or have you just been to tell on us?" "No," said Hermione. She was holding a letter in her hands and her lip was trembling. "I just thought you ought to know. Hagrid lost his case. Buckbeak is going to be executed."
That takes a dark turn. But yeah, the disappointed lecture, the whole I'm not angry, Harry.
I'm just disappointed. Works every time.
It's worse than being angry.
This whole conversation, when you read it through after having read this book, like Snape is literally saying to Lupin, "This is yours. How did he get it? What the heck is going on?"
The manufacturers, I know who Moony, Wormtail, and Padfoot are.
I also...
Snape's favorite words. So, indeed. And
Katie's right. Snape is a detective who can never prove he's right.
Yeah.
He's always right, but he can't prove it. I too also love how he summons him out of the fireplace. Lupin! I want a word. Just boom.
Yeah.
It's great.
Seems like that's the case with a lot of the professors here, though. They're right. But they can never prove it. Because then we have Trelawney, who is always right. But no one believes her.
Yep.
Snape and Trelawney.
It's tough.
They're made for each other. Snape stops obsessing over Lily. Perfect woman right there for you.
I don't know about that.
They're yin and yang.
That would not work. That would not work.
They'd mix like oil and water.
Yeah. Oh God. That might be the weirdest pairing.
I know. I think we had like the discussion about pairings of teachers or students.
Characters, yeah. That would not...
So then I warned him about the tower, and he just wouldn't listen. I knew Potter was in those stairs the whole time. Just talking about their day and everything that they were right about.
And no one believed them.
Lupin, yeah, he would have been such a good father. Well, he was for a little bit.
Just a smidge, yeah. They are. Snape and Lupin are teaching Harry what he needs to know.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing I was going to say. This is the one rare case where I think Snape and Lupin agree.
Yeah.
They're both like, "What are you doing, Harry? Stupid move."
Yep. Both kind of right in a weird way. Like when Snape is saying like
right, like completely.
But even when Snape is saying like you're just like your father, I mean the arrogance, the blah blah blah, like there's definitely the bias there, but like you're just like your father, yada yada. Like, yeah, James would have done the same exact thing.
Yeah, we don't know that.
Come on, mate, let's go into Hogsmeade.
Well, I guess Lupin does say these people would have tried to lure you outside of Hogwarts.
Yeah, so James at 13.
Kind of, yeah, I guess they're kind of agreeing on that.
Yeah, come on, Snape. Maybe it's unprofessional. Maybe he shouldn't be like, your father was just as arrogant. Like, he's clearly going a little off the edge. But he's not wrong in saying, like, you are just like your dad. Just... James would have done the same thing.
He's right, just wrong time and place.
Just bitter about it.
Yeah.
Just bitter.
Was unnecessary.
It's not necessary, but right.
Yeah.
But right. And then Lupin being right by the other side of the coin, being like, you know, they died to save you, and you're just being risky.
Yeah, Michael, genetics. Apparently, risk-taking is genetical. Genetical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Genetical.
New word.
How...
Just invented it.
How terrible must it be for Snape, knowing everything, to then be bullied by these people yet again? like years later in the form of like this
PTSD kicking in.
Yeah, it could be.
The rain cloud just coming back.
That's not canon.
Feels like he's drowning.
That's not canon.
I don't care. It was great. It's canon in my mind. That was one of the greatest scenes in all the Young Dudes.
The rain cloud.
Well, rain never hurt anyone. Yeah, tell that Severus. I'm sure they often snuck into honeydews, take things after hours. Oh yeah, definitely. As Katie says, both are right, but Snape has made himself too much of an enemy to Harry. Yeah, 100%. Snape, he's right, but he just...
they'll never...
Yeah.
They can't ever... It's always going to be this.
Exactly. Snape can't put past everything that happened, so he's just always angry at Harry.
And Harry can't not hate him.
Well, yeah, I mean, Snape's been a jerk to him since he got there. He didn't hate him. He just walked into his class and was just like, okay, I'm gonna learn potions. And then Snape's just like, well, shit. Let me teach you what's up.
Oh my god. The face that cat just made at me.
Yeah, I agree, Anna. Snape just does not know how to approach the situation. This is not the way to do it.
Well, I think once the map insulted him, it was over. Way over.
Yeah.
There was gonna be no, like, if...
Doesn't excuse it, though, but still.
No, I'm not excusing it. I'm saying, if Lupin hadn't come in, it would have been bad. Like, it would have been terrible. Apple bugs!
Yeah, exactly. You can't blame Harry for hating Snape. Snape has never been nice to him. Snape has never given him a reason to like him.
No, it's been a doomed relationship from the start.
Yeah.
Hi, apple bugs. I think, though, everything that Harry does and gets away with, like, makes the hatred that much worse.
Oh, 100%.
Like, Snape was mean to him out of the gate. Harry was like, wow, this guy hates me. Don't know why, but this guy hates me. This sucks. And then, like, everything in this book happens and Snape knows and he can't prove it, but he knows, and he's just like his dad. And it's just every time, it's like, just like his dad. I know what he's doing. I can't prove it, but I know. I think it just...
Yeah, now that I think about it, a lot happens in this book where it's Snape knows something, but he can't prove it. And then finally at the end, he's about to get his win with Sirius.
And no. Just nope.
Dumbledore says, no. Not today.
Not today. And then at the end of the next book, he has to tell Snape, oh, by the way, it's time to go back undercover, buddy. You ready? Go say hi to Voldemort. Let's do this.
Let's not worry about that. You have work to do, Snape.
Right?
Yeah, and it's a lifelong grudge over the Potter name.
Oh no, I don't think it would have mattered if Harry was a rule breaker or not. I think he would have hated him. But I think it just adds to it.
You know what?
I think it just makes it worse. You know?
You know what I feel bad for is any kid who goes to that class with the last name Potter who isn't related to James. And Snape just instantly hates them.
Just an assumption.
Don't understand why.
What happened?
If Harry was a rule breaker or not, maybe Snape would have been more annoyed that he couldn't give him detention, etc. Yeah.
Oh, I 100% also think that that's true. I think Snape did genuinely believe Sirius did it. He very well could have. Maybe if Harry didn't look like James, it wouldn't have been as bad. I think that's possible. Like, what if Harry, Harry, in a lot of ways, is the embodiment of his father to a degree. Like when Snape comes in and tells Dumbledore he's just like his dad, he breaks the rules, is this, is this, is this. And Dumbledore is like, you only see what you want to see. You're not seeing everything else. You're not seeing like the Lily kind of aspects to Harry of his kind and caring nature and how loving Harry can be and how selfless Harry can be.
And also the reasons why he's breaking the rules.
Right.
You know, Harry's doing it to save the world.
Well, not this time.
Not this time.
No, not this time.
Okay, not 90% of the time. But James, 95% of the time, was doing it to just do it.
Have fun.
Yeah, break the rules.
Yeah.
The 5% of the time being when he saves Snape. The risk you worry about it too much. I think that's it too. Like, I think it's just something that eats at him. Then the longer it goes on, just becomes worse and worse and worse.
Either way, I think this chapter is... It's very interesting, I think, to read it from the perspective of once you've read the entire series, and you read this, you understand Snape's issues. It reads on a totally different level than when you're reading this book for the first time. And then coming back and finishing the whole... Even reading this chapter after reading book 5, and then reading this chapter after reading book 7. It has a lot more density to it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. If a muggle-born Potter red-haired girl student would have destroyed Snape. Oh, imagine if you flipped it, and instead of Harry being a boy who looks like James, it was a girl who looked like Lily. Snape would be totally reverse. He would know that she was doing all this bad stuff, but he'd just be like, it's okay. That's fine. Malfoy, shut up. So what? She just wanted to go get some candy.
Malfoy, shut up.
Now that would be a great gender swap story.
Harriet Potter?
Yeah. No, it'd have to be that. I mean, I guess.
It's not about... it's not just about her and he lost her. That's not why he can't move on. It's not just about the fact that he lost her.
Anna has a point. If it was a girl, it would have creepy connotations.
So that's a no for me. You think so? She's a kid. She'd be a kid. It wouldn't be weird.
But that's why it gets creepy. Cause it'd be very... I could definitely see how it could get creepy in some ways. But the way I was thinking about it, it would just kind of be funny. But I see how it could get creepy.
That's why it would be creepy. Lockhart's a bit questionable too.
That's true. Snape loved...
Right.
Yeah,
but
when you put
he
it...
was also her age, though. Like, they were the same age.
Well, that's how he remembers her.
Right? So, it's not just... Oh my god, you guys are oversimplifying.
Either way. Alright, it would work... It wouldn't work as, like, a full-length movie, but, like, a quick SNL skit, I think it could.
It becomes Lolita.
Okay,
Michael's like, not taking that hole, leaving that pile covered right up.
Okay, you bring up Lolita, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
I'm with Michael now. Let's cover it right.
But it wasn't just that he loved her, it was that she made him want to be a better person. And then
we're covering up, we're moving on.
Okay, alright, fine.
Like I said, it was funny, just quick. Now we're thinking about it too much. It's getting weird.
Not rehashing here. Refer to my essay from the Great Snape Debate for further thoughts. Anyway, so yeah, it was funny how Lupin just got sucked into the fireplace and popped out. That was great. It was a great part of the chapter.
It was.
That was funny. Security trolls. How about that?
Or try something, just implications that he loved her mom and they looked the same. Or no, I get it. So that makes cool. But yeah, security trolls.
How about that? Very funny.
They seem like they're idiots. Like, how much are they gonna, protect? Do they know what Sirius Black looks like?
They can't even tell who's got a bigger club.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not going to do anything.
They're not helping. They might hit Neville over the head.
Right, that's probably what.
That's what it had.
Knowing Neville's luck, that's what'll happen.
Because Neville's out there all the time, sitting and waiting for someone to let him in. They probably or
he'll forget the password. They'll be like, "Oh, he doesn't know the password. Sirius Black."
Yeah.
Nail him.
That's probably what would happen to Neville. Oh, poor Neville. It's such a struggle to be Neville Longbottom until book 5, I swear. It's a rough time.
To do is use Wingardium Leviosa on their club. Exactly. But, I mean, Neville doesn't know that yet.
Would Neville be able...
Well, I mean, as long as Neville doesn't have to brew a potion.
He should be fine.
Yeah. And I mean, Neville's probably got some plants in his back pocket like Pokemon. Just throw it at him.
Maybe. I don't know what Neville's got going on. Well, he definitely doesn't have the password in his pockets. We know that.
Levicorpus a troll.
Oh my god. Throw a mandrake at them, right?
That's right. Mandrake, I choose you. Knowing Neville, he would forget the earmuffs though, so he'd pass out too.
But no, Neville's good at herbology. He would know to plug his ears. He wouldn't pull a dumb move like that.
No, but when they first do it, he...
Oh, that's only in the movie.
Is it only in the movie?
Yeah, it's not in the book.
Oh, okay.
Because Neville's good at herbology. He wouldn't do some stupid noob thing like that. That's like a Ron move. Ron would do that.
I'm gonna go with that because the last time I tried to make a joke about the story, it turned weird. So you're right. Neville wouldn't do that. Moving on. McGonagall just gave Neville a few sharp words in the movie.
She really punished him hardcore this time.
Yeah, she did.
Right? Comic relief at the expense of a character. It makes no sense for Neville to do that in the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't fit his...
It doesn't fit his character.
You wanted to add something in where Snape gets mad at him. Okay. That fits his whole story, his persona, but... The Mandrake thing, that's his wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's his thing. You could have had that, make Crabber Goyle do that. That makes sense.
Wait, Crabber Goyle do what?
Forget the earmuffs. That makes sense.
I was thinking, how did Dumbledore not suspect Sirius was using a secret passage he knew from his time at school and asked Lupin, knowing what he was up to at school?
Dumbledore, I don't think, knows the extent of everything that they were up to. Yeah. He doesn't know that they became Animagi. He doesn't know,
that
a lot of things.
Snuck out on the full moon.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that Dumbledore actually doesn't know. Right? The Slytherins are always in their classes. It would have made sense for Crabbe and Goyle. That's what I'm saying.
Unless you're asking, why Lupin wouldn't have told him when he was trying to seal up the school, they have all these guards around. Why didn't Lupin tell Dumbledore
about the passages?
Oh, hey, there's also these passages you should watch out for.
Yeah, Dumbledore doesn't even know about the map. That's true. But maybe Lupin assumes that Dumbledore knows about the passages and that they're sealed.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. I mean, once Sirius broke in, because Lupin is going to know that Sirius knows all those passages.
Yeah, that's true.
Dumbledore knows a bit, but was busy with Dementors gunning at Harry. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dumbledore had bigger problems.
I mean, Dumbledore does have a lot going on. This is true.
What you thinking?
Well, we already know some of the passages are like caved in and boarded up anyway.
Yeah.
That's what Fred and George say. The only good one left is
The
Honeydukes, which we would know if Honeydukes got broken into, like Ron said, or whatever.
Yeah. How could Dumbledore, with being at the school for 100 years, not know the secret passages?
I don't know if Dumbledore was there for 100 years. I mean, Dumbledore didn't know about the Room of Requirement, so...
And yeah, he didn't know about the Room of Requirement, and he admits that there's a lot that he doesn't know about the school, so...
Yeah.
I guess I think it's something you gotta find when you're a kid, you know, sneaking around trying to find those places.
And I agree with Katie. I think when Dumbledore was at school, he was like kind of like a Hermione. He was just like studying and learning and focusing on academics.
Yeah.
I would agree. I don't think he'd be sneaking around trying to do stuff. He'd be studying all the time.
He was a Hermione, a Snape.
Yeah.
A Lily.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really know how Lily was. I'm assuming that's how Lily was, but
like a studier.
Yeah.
Who
knows? After she got mixed in with the Marauders, it could have gone downhill for her.
It's true.
Start going on
bad influence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and Dumbledore fully admits in book 4, like, yeah, I don't. There's a lot about the school I don't know.
I think Voldemort snuck out too, or was a good kid minus the murder. I think Voldemort was a great student. I mean, he was a prefect.
He was a prefect.
Was he head boy in the flashback, or was he just?
He was a prefect in the diary scene.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think Tom Riddle, like, he was all about becoming the most powerful wizard. So I think he was just engrossed in his studies.
Tom?
Yeah, 100%.
I think Tom was not above sneaking, though. I think Tom.
No, but I think he snuck for different reasons.
I agree.
He'd sneak down to like the Chamber of Secrets.
I think Tom was sneaking for different reasons.
Probably snuck into the restricted section. Maybe the restricted section is the restricted section because of him.
Maybe.
Maybe before you didn't have to sneak in there to steal a book. You could just, just another area in the library.
I'm looking up to see if Dog Breath Doge said Albus was a troublemaker.
He doesn't have time to figure out all the castle's secrets.
I think that's true too. When Dumbledore's headmaster, he's got a lot going on. I think.
Yeah, because he's not only
Katie has a good point there as well.
He's not only headmaster, having to lock everything down, play security guard, but then he also has the Order of the Phoenix to, manage. Then he's also trying to figure out the Horcruxes, Deathly Hallows, and who knows what else. But the obituary. Yeah, pretty much. Dumbledore is playing 4D chess out here.
So Doge doesn't say anything about Dumbledore being a troublemaker in his obituary. And I'm not
No, he
seeing
said it
anything.
was at the wedding or something.
Yeah, I don't see. I just read that line by Crumb. What is the point of being an international Quidditch player if all the good-looking girls are taken? Just-
Yeah, Dan is referring to the wedding.
I'm looking.
I mean, I could definitely see it because, I mean, gifted students tend to be a bit of troublemakers because they get bored easily.
You there, give me your chair. I'm 107.
Yeah, but she's a witch, so that's only like, 40 in human years. Dumbledore was what, 120? He was fine.
Something like that, I'm sure, yeah.
I think he just said that he was a good friend, helpful to others. I don't remember him saying anything even remotely negative about Dumbledore. I mean, yeah, I don't think a lot of people had much negativity to say about Dumbledore other than,
Auntie Muriel.
well, that, and I was going to say Dumbledore.
Okay.
Maybe Aberforth.
There's nothing in here about him being a troublemaker at school. Just
after school, we know he was.
yeah.
Maybe Aberforth was more of a rule breaker. I mean, I could see it. His experiments with goats and all.
I mean, it's possible.
Whatever that's about. Never answered.
It says Albus's brother Aberforth arrived at school. They were not alike. Aberforth was never bookish, and unlike Albus, preferred to settle arguments by dueling rather than through reasoned discussion.
I mean, that kind of hints that he wasn't a troublemaker,
Yeah, but he's talking about Aberforth though.
Yeah, Aberforth used dueling while
Yeah.
Albus
Had discussion.
used discussions and reasoning.
Yeah, there's nothing in here saying he was a troublemaker at school. Confirmed.
So, I mean, he still could have been. He could have been that one kid in class that, like, disagrees with everything the teacher says and has to be contradictory.
Either way. Oh no, internet. I'm sorry. Either way. Dumbledore, for whatever reason, did not have the time and resources to be sneaking around, discovering all the secrets that Hogwarts had to offer. But Tom certainly did.
Oh, yeah.
He discovered a big one.
The Room of Requirements, the Chamber of Secrets.
Those are some big ones.
I'm going to say Voldemort probably knows more about the school than Dumbledore.
He might. He loved the school in a different way, I think, than Dumbledore does.
Yeah.
But he's... Yeah, maybe he does.
Either way.
Either way.
I don't think he knew about all those passages. And why Lupin didn't tell him, well, who knows? Maybe he just didn't want him to start digging too deeply into why Lupin knew. And for him to, tell him, well, when I was a kid, I always broke out when I was a werewolf. And, oh yeah, Sirius Black, James Potter, and Wormtail, they're They're animagi.
Right. If Lupin tells him, it opens up a whole other can of worms. But
that actually
meanwhile,
brings new meaning to why Lupin's like telling Harry not to go out and risk his life, because Lupin did that all the time.
well, and now also Lupin
didn't risk his life, but everyone else's.
Now Lupin has the map,
mm-hmm.
So Lupin could keep an eye out, and Lupin was ashamed and didn't want Dumbledore to be disappointed in him as he owes him so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's hits it right on the head. He doesn't want to put that out there. I would also say Dumbledore and Hermione are traditional learners. Riddle and Harry are non-traditional learners.
Agreed.
100%.
Harry and Riddle got the street smarts, and Dumbledore and Hermione have the book smarts.
Heck yeah.
Dumbledore was more impressed than disappointed in the end, though. Yeah, he was. I think Dumbledore appreciates good magic where it can be found.
Absolutely.
Or maybe he's just old and tired and was like, I don't got time to deal with this. Good job. Keep it up.
I think I think Dumbledore was probably like, wow, a couple of fifth years became animagi? That's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive.
Dumbledore never even became an animagi.
I know. Animagus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There you go.
I wonder what other spells Dumbledore never learned.
How to make a Horcrux.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's only like 3 people who probably know how to do that, though.
Probably. How to make a Horcrux seems like one of those...
Like Mr. Weasley over the car. Yeah, exactly. That's how it would be. He'd just have more questions about like how it was.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Yeah. During school. Blah, blah, blah.
Dumbledore was a transfiguration teacher at the
time.
He
was. Yeah, he was. Oh my god.
McGonagall is harder to predict how she would react, because yeah, she would definitely be mad and impressed at the same time.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how she projected that, though. Would it just be detention for forever and just quietly be impressed, or would she just be like, oh, wow.
That's right, Katie. For the greater good. Unregistered animagi. For the greater good.
That's right. In the end, it helped. It didn't really help the cause much. Maybe it did. Who knows? Maybe some of those missions they went on, they had to change into animal form.
Well, Sirius didn't get to go anywhere, so...
I thought he worked for the Order for a while before things happened.
Before the Veil?
No, I meant like...
Oh, well, Dumbledore... Yeah, but Dumbledore doesn't know about them at that point.
Well, yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, for the greater good, would they have been able to use those...
Oh, probably.
Magical skills
maybe.
For anything?
It did. It did. That was a good cause.
Give them ginger newts to eat during... You have detention. I will make sure to provide a lot of biscuits.
Right.
Oh, and on that note...
Yeah, I don't really have anything else. That's...
Talking about biscuits is making me hungry.
I know.
It's almost dinner time.
I was just thinking to myself, it's almost dinner time. I'm kind of getting hungry. I'd like a snack or something. Some food.
All right. So we can end it here.
Here's the biscuit. What a good boy.
Saying that to Sirius, just be so patronizing.
I know.
What a good boy. But okay.
Have a biscuit, Bluck. Oh, what a good boy.
Glad you enjoyed it, Ben. Yeah, so we have a couple ideas of what we're going to do. We think we're going to do the Voldemort discussion and
House of Gaunt
for the next live streams, but feel free to leave any suggestions.
Yes,
And
we love suggestions.
we will not be live streaming this week or the next week. We will be back in a couple weeks. Do the live stream. We'll take the time and kind of write down our discussions, take some notes. So until then, you guys have a fantastic day, fantastic week.
Yes, and we will see you all in a couple of weeks. Leave some comments, give us some suggestions, and we will talk to you all soon. Plot hole stream. Katie wants the plot hole stream.